Bases dropped from Valdosta, Georgia. So yes, it's a hotel room, and it is in Valdosta, and so that is where we are this morning. Tomorrow morning we will be in a hotel room in Milledgeville. It is that time of year where everything kind of blends together, and it is one location for high school football shoot, another location for this, and another location, and so on and so forth. So this weekend next, just so you like it was when we were on vacation for the last week, Thursday and Friday of this week and next, it will be a foreign background. It will not be Office HD. So today we are in Valdosta, and tomorrow we will be in Milledgeville because we have some shoots for some content that we're piecing together for the GPB for Football Fridays. And so that's why I came in last night and was here, and we have the show here this morning, and then 11:05 or as close to 11:05 as possible, I got a jet because we got to go to the school because we got to shoot. And then we head north from there. So it will be interesting to see me do a NASCAR pit stop to try to combine everything, slam it all together, pack it, and get out of here. So that's where we are today. So tomorrow, Milledgeville, today here in Valdosta. A lot of stuff to get into. Most of it's going to be Leagues Cup and Copa Sudamericana because of what happened last night in the Universidad de Chile Independiente match. And so we'll get into that for those of you that missed it. We'll get into Leagues Cup and the shenanigans that happened there. And I've got to ask, has anyone's opinion, if you had a negative opinion of Leagues Cup going in, with everything that has been going on in this tournament, has it changed? Has your opinion of this tournament changed at all, considering everything that we've seen? Last night was no exception. The 4 Major League Soccer clubs, they advance. And so when Niko Moreno joins us at 10:30, we'll get into what happened in Seattle last night. Andrew Thomas comes up big in the shootout. Seattle advances. So we'll find out what his thoughts are on all of this. We'll run through all of the matchups. Specifically, when we kind of focus on Seattle, but we'll run through all the other matchups here in hour number 1 because of the chaos that happened in Fort Lauderdale at the Erector set. We've got to get into that. And we've got to get into a couple of other things. Our buddy Nino Torres is going to join us at 10. We'll go in depth into the Copa Sudamericana events from last night. I would love to be in a situation where we're talking about the game on the field. But because of what happened last night at the Avellaneda, we can't do that. And it is another situation where CONMEBOL has completely and totally just come to the forefront for the wrong reason. You'd like to sit there and say, okay, fantastic tournament, great matchups. I mean, Rosigan Peñarol was amazing. Santi Sosa, 30 of 41 on duels. That kind of stuff we'd love to talk about. But because of what happened, we can't. And that's where we are. So that's and also in hour number 1, we'll go through all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We had news yesterday about Eberici Eze, and it's not about Spurs. Arsenal has come in to hijack the bid. So we'll update you on all the transfer talk. We'll update you on everything else going on. Power Hours in hour number 2 with Nino and Nico. We'll break down everything and get you ready for the day today, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and so on. Okay. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And I'm also a device or two down, so you'll have to kind of bear with me here as tables shake and things like that. So there's your QR code for Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You start your day there, and then what you do is you hit that QR code, you go in, and then we want you to buy out the store because that's just how we roll. We want you to buy out the store. But then you can buy out the store and use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it into youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool. And that's from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. Opening kickoff was also about the extremes that fans go to when they're mad. And it also happened last night while we were waiting for things to continue in Sudamericana last night. Matches are delayed. We didn't quite know the seriousness of everything that was going on. There was a match, and once again, this comes from our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. While I was scanning channels on Fanatis, I came across the Primera in Colombia. So match day number 1, Bet Play League, last night. Millonarios and Union Magdalena. And it got to a point where some of the fans were so mad, it almost suspended the match. They did pull the players and everybody off the field. So Millonarios, last in the table, 1 point in 5 matches. Then they have a lot of pressure on their manager, understandably so. The expectations of being 20th in the table, and 12th was where Union Magdalena was going in. So the coach's future, you look at El Deportivo in Colombia, and they said that the future of the coach hangs in the balance in the event of a defeat. So protest signs, chants, you get those kinds of things. You know that that's going to happen. In the match, Millonarios took a lead in the 6th. Union Magdalena equalized in the 18th. Match ends in a draw, and then you end up with things were, the 1-1 at the break. So then you have a goal for Millonarios. And so, for Union Magdalena, sorry. So Union Magdalena scores to get a 2-1 lead, and it's in the 51st minute. So Union Magdalena is at Millonarios. They score. They were down 1-0. They're up 2-1. And all hell breaks loose. So you have a red card happen, and then you have some supporters. And here's how it was phrased in El Deportivo down in Colombia. There, and this is after the 51st minute goal, there, some Azules supporters crossed the threshold of passion. Verbal exchanges erupted. All kinds of objects were thrown on the field, including several shoes, sparking widespread scuffles in popular areas. Although there has been no official confirmation of the suspension, the referee and security are evaluating the continuation of the match. And then they did come back out and finish the match, by the way. At the moment, no decision has been made. But once again, there was talk that Millonarios and Union Magdalena would be canceled. In the end, it was not canceled. But here's how it was phrased. El Tiempo. Match was stopped in minute 55. Millonarios protest at the worst moment of the team. Banners, insults, and shoes from the grandstand. The game was suspended. And there's video at El Tiempo, by the way. And El Tiempo has a still shot from on the field of the shoes that were thrown. And there were a lot of shoes. Millonarios fans completely and totally protesting. And so they threw shoes and eggs. And the match was on Win Sports last night. And literally you have fans from the second level threw shoes. I don't know if they were the ones they were wearing or if they brought shoes in. I don't know if they brought shoes in or not. But those shoes ended up on the track and on the field. They suspended the match, and then eventually they come back out, finish the match, and it was 2-1. So shoes and eggs, and I mean literally shoes and eggs and all that. Chaos at El Campín. Millonarios fans halt match with a shoe protest. Called by Footboom as a surreal turn of events. And so it was listed as a breaking point. This shoe throwing spectacle at El Campín wasn't just a protest. It was a desperate cry from a fan base that feels unheard, a stark reminder of the fractured bond between the club and its passionate supporters. So that's what happened last night in Colombia. People throwing shoes as Union Magdalena beat Millonarios by the score of 2-1. Morning, Lokeville. And so that was opening kickoff. And there were great shots from Win Sports. of all of the shoes on the track and on the grass. And then you had the support staff there at the stadium basically taking all of the shoes and taking them off the track and putting them on the grass, the infield grass. And there were a lot of shoes. But literally, that was what one of the protests was last night while we were waiting for all of the results in Leagues Cup. So that was what we had last night. And Leagues Cup was definitely Leagues Cup after dark. There's no way around it. It was Leagues Cup after dark. So that's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, here's your QR code. And you hit that QR code. You start your day there with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Buy out the store. We recommend it. And what you do is you hit that QR code. You go to Kickoff Coffee. You buy out the store. Use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. Leagues Cup last night. MLS went 4 for 4. And you had a lot of them going into shootouts, meaning past 90 minutes where it was 1v1, player versus a shooter versus keeper. And then you had the matchup involving Messi and friends and our old friend Juanjo Purata. Air Force One played the match of his life last night, but Messi and friends eventually would beat Tigres by the score of 2-1. And here's just how nuts it got, just to give you an idea. So Luis Suarez gets a PK. It's 1-0. Then it's 1-0 at the break. Jordi Alba goes down injured more than once. And this became kind of the crux of the entire argument toward what kind of happened shortly thereafter. So Jordi Alba goes down injured once and twice. The second time he goes down injured, it's in first half stoppage time. Man in the middle puts up 4. And so at the beginning of the 4, Jordi Alba is down injured. And so he takes maybe 2 for treatment and such. And then he comes back out on the pitch and tries to navigate it. When you get to 4 minutes on the clock, and north of 4 minutes on the clock at the Erector set down in Fort Lauderdale, you end up with fans starting to whistle. And, that is their want, that is their desire, is to do that. But the idea that it should have been just 4 on the clock when you had a player who is injured, once again, I get it being the home team there, but once again, you're probably adding another 2 or so, and that was the idea. Morning, Alex. So you end up with, say, 6, 6.5, somewhere in there, before the first half comes to a close. And you have Tigres players and you have Messi and friends. They are all down. And since Messi was watching from a box because of nursing an injury, it was just and friends last night. So and friends are playing Tigres. And Luis Suarez comes up big. He'd been in a scoring drought and he came up big last night. Big discussion of players, and they are heading off the pitch, and you got players with arms around each other trying to explain what's going on. And I think there was a jersey swap involving Suarez because he took off his jersey as they were exiting. And you end up with, by the time the second half starts, Javier Mascherano is not on the field. Javier Mascherano is not there. Jordi Alba starts the second half injured, comes back. I guess they thought that they had treated it sufficiently. And he goes down after about 1:10, and he's down and he's done. So instead of burning a sub and not a sub window in 45 to start the second half, you've got to burn one at 46 and change. And that was when Noah Allen came in. So where's Javier Mascherano? It turned into where's Waldo? As it turned out, morning, David. As it turns out, Javier Mascherano was given a red card, and I imagine it was because of spirited conversation that was had as they were leaving the pitch after the first 45. The center ref waits until Mascherano comes back out for the start of the second 45 before dialing him up with the red card. Literally, that's what he does. Mascherano, it's like, okay, yeah, we're coming out second 45 minutes. Center ref goes, bang. Javier Mascherano has to leave the field. He's like, you got to go. So he turns around, goes down the tunnel, and the crew from Apple is trying to figure out where Javier Mascherano was. Turns out he wasn't all that far away. He was in the front row of the suite directly behind the bench on his cell phone. And literally, there are some great shots from our friends at Apple where Mascherano is literally yelling into his phone. I guess DoorDash got his order wrong. And so he's trying to, I guess, direct traffic or instructions or whatever. I don't know who he's yelling into on his phone. I don't know. Maybe he's calling Leagues Cup. I don't know. Why did I get that red card? So Javier Mascherano is peak rage for getting the red card and literally was sitting, seriously, top row right behind the bench in the suite. And everybody was sitting there going, hey, man, can you do that? And visions in all of our collective heads went to Piojo and the walkie-talkie and Chelis in Las Vegas lighting up a Chesterfield in the first row with the fans after getting a red in USL Championship. But as it turns out, get this, I did not know this, and this was an eye-opening piece of news, and this is from Michelle Kaufman's piece, by the way, over at the Miami Herald. So Mascherano watched the rest of the game from the suite near field level, shown on TV. A Leagues Cup statement reads, Inter Miami coach was located in a space designated in accordance with tournament regulations. Cell phone communications are not prohibited per Leagues Cup regulations. So literally, you get a red card, and you could have Piojo all over again. David says some video of the assistant on the phone on the bench, speculation calling the assistant. But couldn't you? But if you're Javier Mascherano, couldn't you just yell down? Seriously, just yell down. They're right underneath you. Dude, just do this. I mean, I could anticipate him gesticulating wildly from that front row and still being heard, because it was what? It was 10 feet up and maybe 7 feet back. So Mascherano, according to Leagues Cup rules, could do what he did. Inter Miami coach was located in a space designated in accordance with tournament regulations. Cell phone communications are not prohibited per Leagues Cup regulations. Obviously, he is suspended for the matchup against the Purple team next week, and he could not participate in the post-match presser. Assistant coach Leandro Stilitano coached the second half. So that was Leandro Stilitano was who you saw. Javi Morales, quote, at the end of the first half, the ref added 4 minutes and we played 6 or something like that. We were arguing about the time, and Javier got the red card, and we didn't get any more information. Your player was injured at the beginning of stoppage time. You're supposed to add that time back. 4 does not equal 4 in an injury situation. At least it shouldn't. And in this case, it didn't. You add the 2 minutes. You're fine. You're right there. It's okay. I know why you were doing it. But it was 2 minutes added because of the 2 minutes that Alba was down. So you get to 6, and then it's up to the ref and his discretion. So, yeah, Morales was, by the way, Morales was the one who was answering the questions after the fact in the match last night. So, but apparently cell phone communications, they are permitted. Oh, my gosh. Morning, Alex. Yes, and Alex is absolutely true. Absolutely true. It just means Moss. It absolutely does. It absolutely just means Moss. And thank you. I will just mention your first initial. So you end up with that last night. Luis Suarez scores on 2 PKs. Juanjo Purata balls out. Tigres exits the tournament. We did get a Gignac sighting, by the way, at the tail end. I never thought that Gignac made the treks to the United States. But Edgar Lopez got so literally you end up with a Concavar in the 85th minute to make it 2-1. Then you get a double doink. Edgar Lopez off the left post, across the goal mouth, off the right post. So it was 2-1, and you survived a double doink. And so you end up with Messi and friends making their way into the semifinals to take on the purple team. And so that is that's what you're staring at in the next little bit. According to Morales, we don't have an official medical report on Jordy yet, but from what I understand, he had a knock to the knee. It was knee-to-knee contact, and it literally was a drive-by. It was friendly fire too. I think it was Allende. It was either Allende or Segovia. It was one of those two, but it was literally one of them running past, and literally it was knee-to-knee contact with Jordi Alba. So Alba is working this way, and perpendicular is the teammate, and literally the right knee of his teammate comes and it hits Jordi Alba on the way by, and so that was rough for Jordi Alba, but no word on Jordi Alba for the weekend, and so we will see what the latest is there. Obviously, Messi had a hamstring injury in the win against. He was coming off of the hamstring injury in the matchup against LAG, and suffered a setback, according to Michelle Kaufman. Didn't train over the last few days. Seen massaging his leg in the LAG game, and then left right after the whistle. So you end up with the 2-1 win. Starting lineup. So once again, set your fantasy teams accordingly in the weekend. Keep an eye out for this. Ustari, Frey, Lujan, Falcone, Alba, Bright, Busquets, Allende, Rodrigo de Paul, who's ridiculous, by the way, Talasco, Segovia, and Luis Suarez. So the 4-5-1, 5-4-1 for Javier Mascherano ends up with a 2-1 win. In the other activity in Leagues Cup last night, see now, and Alex, you're absolutely true. It would have been hilarious if the assistant had done the presser with, see if Javi Morales would have sat there and he would just had the everything, or like a Zoom call or FaceTime. But that's the thing. If you show, and to your point, Alex, on speaker, if Mascherano was on speakerphone, but if you are in that press conference, if you're in that press conference and you decide to do FaceTime, so like if you do this. If you do this, does this mean that you're violating the post-match? Since you got the red card, you're not supposed to do this. Javier Mascherano, they have a question for you. Okay, Michelle Kaufman, go ahead. If you do that, are you still in attendance with the post-match presser? I think you might be. As funny as it might be to have Coach Morales sit there and have Coach Mascherano answering questions like this, it still might be in violation of the red card. But that's just me. Also late last night, LAG over Pachuca in the 7-26 matchup by the score of 2-1. And in that matchup, it was Aceves with an own goal. Marco Royce in the 37th. LAG had a 2-0 lead at the break. Alemão scored at 90+6. Not enough. LAG advances, and it's 2-1. And so LAG will take on Seattle. Seattle ranked 13th, Puebla 35th. Goalless draw. Seattle wins in PKs. We'll get into that with Niko Moreno in the last half hour of the show. Toluca and Orlando went to PKs as well. And so literally it is going to be Messi and friends, purple team, LAG, Seattle in your semifinals. And so now, once again, the three slots for the CONCACAF, the Champions Extravaganza, are going to MLS teams. Start the debate again about who's doing what. So no goals with Toluca and Orlando, and then it gets to PKs. Orlando wins on 6-5. Gallese scores the game winner. So he gets the save in the top of the sixth, gets the game winner in the bottom of the sixth. Sorry, it's seventh because there were misses. So in the seventh, so Gallese gets the game winner in the PKs, and so Toluca and Orlando goes to PKs. Orlando, the 16 seed, moves on. And they will take on Messi and friends in the semifinals. So that is your Leagues Cup kind of updatey thing. And we'll get into Leagues Cup more, obviously, with Seattle, and we'll get into that with Niko in a bit. I'm kind of what I'm doing with the rundown is I want to get to the transfers. I want to get to the news. I want to get to what to watch, and then I want to get into what happened with Universidad de Chile and Independiente last night, kind of in depth. We'll get into what we know, and then when Nino comes on at 10 o'clock. We'll discuss it that much more. So it'll be like getting into what happened in Sudamericana last night. And then when Nino comes on, we'll get into it a little bit more in depth. So we'll do the rest of the news of the day. We'll get into the matchups and everything else that everybody needs to know getting into the day. Then we'll get into Sudamericana. Then we'll get into the Power Hour coming up in hour number 2. So that's the rundown for the rest of the show. So had to get the Leagues Cup stuff and had to get that moving, so we could kind of clear the decks a little bit, and that's kind of what the plan was, because of what happened last night in Sudamericana at the Avellaneda, and we have to get into that. And so that's going to be more of an in-depth topic this morning. But I wanted to get through all of the news of the day and things like that, so we know what we're facing as we're getting into the day. But, yeah, a lot of the talk in the middle of the show is going to be about what happened last night in Sudamericana. Okay, gossip, rumor, innuendo reports. Remember, MLS transfer window ends today. Word out of Cincinnati, DeAndre Yedlin's on the move. So we'll check with Laurel Failer in a sec. Ben Jacobs, Wolves are in advanced talks for defender Ladislav Krejci. Girona want €30 million. Help from Alex Crook at TalkSport. The key to the Eberechi Eze Arsenal move was a July meeting with both Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta present, as previously revealed. The bid came after Spurs already had a deal with Palace and terms with Eze, but the Palace attacker had said yes to the Arsenal project last month. And so he's expected to undergo his Arsenal medical Friday ahead of his £60 million plus add-ons transfer to Arsenal. He's set to be in the Palace squad first for the Europa Conference League match against Fredrikstad before finalizing the move. So he's going to be playing for Palace as long as there are matches. It looks like physical and medical on Friday, and then everything turns Eze into a gunner. Inter are close to a €23 million deal for Lens Andy Diouf. So Andy Diouf from Lens to Inter, personal terms agreed on a 5-year deal, close on a €23 million deal. Fulham adds Basel's Philip Otele to their list of options. Frankfurt is monitoring. Otele is available for under €15 million. Price still remains an issue with Shakhtar's Kevin. Fulham could bring in 2 attackers before the window shuts. Remember, the window overseas is September 1st, so there's another 10 days to play with there. You're dealing with anything here domestically, it's today. Leeds confirmed that Noah Okafor has joined from Milan on a 4-year deal. Fees around £18 million. And Liverpool's preference is to keep Harvey Elliott. Leipzig is still working on a deal. Nothing agreed club to club as of this morning. The right price. Liverpool will reluctantly sanction a sale due to understandings Elliott's desire to start every week, yet Elliott's staying would be welcomed by Liverpool as he remains a valued squad player. Dortmund also discussing a loan move for Aaron Anselmino, according to PJ Berger. Carney Chukwuemeka remains open to a Dortmund return as well if the clubs can agree on a package. Enzo Maresca confirms Nico Jackson and Christopher Nkunku will not be a part of the West Ham squad, as Chelsea expect both to leave. Quoting Maresca, Nico is available, but he's not part of the squad. And we know something can happen before the window closes. With Christo, it's the same answer. Issa Kabor has held talks with Southampton, with Manchester City open to a loan or sale. Lyon are also interested. Hamburg made an approach earlier in the window, but are not an active suitor. Bournemouth confirmed Leverkusen midfielder Amin Adli joined on a 5-year deal for a £25 million fee. Once again, you budget that out over the force of the deal, it's $5 million per. The hit isn't that big. Let's see, more on Eze. Southampton are in talks with Middlesbrough for midfielder Finn Azaz. The 24-year-old is open to the move. Borough went in excess of £10 million. Myron Boadu, Monaco Dutch striker, drawing interest from Valencia and Genoa. The player is open to both moves. 24-year-old spent last season on loan with Bochum. And let me see here. Strasbourg is set to sign Julio Enciso from Brighton, as Ornstein calls. Understand the initial fees around €16 million. Enciso is viewed as a Chelsea player in the long term. Player signed for Brighton, but now by Chelsea. Sporting director Paul Winstanley. Sam Jewell also very familiar with the player, having watched him at Club Libertad in Paraguay. Now, The other stuff locally meaning here in the States, because once again, you're talking MLS transfer window. The news yesterday, of course, after the show was over, Edelson Malanda goes from Charlotte to Middlesbrough, and it's another one of those deals in the $7 million range. So there's that move. Austin FC this morning, and this happened just before the show kicked off. Austin has transferred midfielder Nicky Bolocco to Lausanne in the Swiss League. Bolocco joined the club on June 30. Didn't appear in a game. So basically 2 months for Nicky Bolocco, didn't have anything with the club, moved him to Lausanne. And Rodolfo Borrell says that we made the decision to help Nicky return to Switzerland out of respect for personal circumstances. We wish him all the best in the next step of his career. Minnesota United finalizing a deal to sign forward Mamadou Dieng from Hartford Athletic of the USL Championship. And we have our buddy Kaylor Hodges on from the USL show. We'll get into that discussion. Dieng has 9+2 in 1,600 minutes, had 11 and 1 in 1,800 minutes last year. And so for FC Cincinnati, RSL has agreed to a deal to acquire DeAndre Yedlin. Per sources, Yedlin will sign a new long-term deal in RSL, according to Bogert. As for Cincinnati, there had been exploratory discussions about American wingback Brian Reynolds, but that is very unlikely, according to our friend Laurel Failer. Bogert expecting Cincinnati to move for an in-league addition at right wingback at this stage with 16 hours left in the window. So I think it's midnight tonight officially is when it is. So Jose Cifuentes, so it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. 1 o'clock Eastern time is the end of it all. So Paxton Aronson to Colorado. Jose Cifuentes to Toronto from Rangers. That looks like that's it's getting closer. So Yedlin to Salt Lake. Cincinnati looking for a right wing back. Ivan Jaime to CF Montreal. Andrew Moran to LAFC. Victor Radijevich to Chicago Fire. And anything in league between now and 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's your headlines really for the day as you're heading into the last little bit here of the secondary transfer window. Lexington SC is going to sign midfielder Michael Adedikan from CF Montreal on a permanent. Adedikan has been on loan at Lexington this season already, now joins permanently. Reigning Mac Hermann Trophy winner for college soccer's best player. Also, no agreement in place still between Cruz Azul and Inter Miami as they chase after Piovi. Cruz Azul wants 7. That was impossible under the salary cap. Miami had hoped to agree for less. Cruz Azul didn't budge. There was never an agreement. Deal is looking very unlikely. Cesar Luis Merlo is the one who is leading that charge. Once again, that cap hit is the part that Raul Sanlehi and the front office at Inter Miami have to figure out. They've got to try and see if they can navigate that to try and get POV in under the cap for the remainder of the year. And a lot of the work that was done was to bring in Rodrigo de Paul, and now they've got help. They need help on defense. They've got their guy. They just have to figure out the figure and whether or not they can get there. So we'll see what happens. POV joined Cruz Azul before there he was at Racing Club. So let me see if there's anybody else that I have missed. Villarreal. We mentioned Villarreal yesterday, closing in on a deal for Tani Oluwase, believed to be in the neighborhood of 7.5. LAFC. The Andrew Moran part was on loan from Brighton. Pete O'Rourke from the Daily Mail was the first one to put this one across. Optimism to get it done before the deadline. Not done yet. Spent the last 2 seasons on loan in the Championship at Stoke and Blackburn. 70 career champ appearances, 3 caps with Ireland. The Victor Radijevich deal, once again, youth international defender from FKTSC. Serbian youth international defender, 21-31 first-team appearances for FKTSC. That's got to be an acronym for something. Product of the Red Star Belgrade Academy. Then we get into Paxton Aronson and all of that stuff. So that is the early returns on MLS, early returns on the stuff going on overseas. And so that's where we are with transfers as of this very moment. Okay, so let's get into what to watch. Like I said, I'm kind of flipping the rundown because I know we're going to be spending a lot of time with the Copa Sudamericana and Leagues Cup in hour number 2. So I'm kind of flipping the rundown here a little bit. All right, so what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. So here is, and we got college soccer all over the place today. If you don't know, we have our premiere episode of Hoot and Shoot, our look at Kennesaw State. Maddie and Coach Cahill caught up with each other. So episode 1 of Hoot and Shoot at Kennesaw State, that's on the board. So you can listen to that. That's the beginning of our college coverage along with them and Georgia State. So that's a lot of what we're going to be discussing in our college game this year. Our college coverage is going to look this way. Wait, hang on. Let me get hydrated here for a second. Sorry, I dumped off of the frame, but here's what it's going to look like. Georgia State, and it's going to be Kennesaw State. We're going to have Georgia Gwinnett, hopefully Mercer, and that'll be 4 to start with, and also Clayton State. So it's like those 5 will be a lot of our base. And from there, we'll be doing a lot of other coverage of a lot of other schools here in the state of Georgia on the Red Clay Soccer Report, the D2s, the HBCUs, the NAIA, all of the Peach Belt, all of those. Those are going to be in like a rotating basis over at Red Clay. But Hoot and Shoot with Kennesaw State, you got Georgia State coverage, you got Mercer coverage, then you've got Clayton State coverage hopefully coming up, and then Georgia Gwinnett coverage coming up. So we got 5, and then we have a lot of others in Red Clay. So that's where our college coverage is going to be. Hang on just a second. First sip of anything. Oh, man, that's awful. Not the Mountain Dew, mind you, but get this. When you brush your teeth, man, it's just when you brush your teeth and then you try and sip a soda, it is a collision that you don't want. Yes, David, it is men's and women's. When there is men's coverage, there's men's coverage. When there's women's coverage, there's women's coverage, and when there's both, there's both. Oh, and our friends at Columbus State. So, so it is both. It is looking at everything as much as we can and getting all the interviews and the up-to-dates as possible. So, and it may not necessarily be on set times because of schedules being all over the place, but just keep an eye out for, just set your notifications, because then when Hoot and Shoot pops up, you'll know. When Georgia State coverage pops up, it's already on Instagram. And the first day they had Media Day, and Maddie and Jason went to GSU Media Day, and they caught up with folks there. But yes, men's and women's across the board. So you'll see all that coverage during soccer season. Plenty of soccer on today in the college ranks. And it is starting actually at 3 o'clock on the men's side. BU in New Hampshire in the America East. So that's on the Plus. You've got stuff all over the place. The Plus, ACC Extra, B1G Plus, ESPN, SEC Network tonight on Extra has Ohio State and Virginia Tech. Nesson Plus, BTN has Providence and Rutgers at 6:30. You have ACC Extra. Literally, it's exploding tonight. There's a lot at 7:05. So I'm sure that if you have a favorite club or a favorite school, they got a game tonight on one of the streaming services. Women's action starts in the A10 at 1 o'clock with St. Francis and Duquesne, and so that carries through. And I'm literally scrolling. There's like 9 gazillion games today in the college ranks. Speaking of which, tomorrow it is going to be Ross Smith and KCD. Casey White, that's going to be the power hour from 10 to 11. Ross is going to join us to break down his matchup this weekend, and KCD is going to talk about the college game, and she's going to give us a little bit of intel on Toronto because she and Evan Weston called Columbus and Toronto last weekend. So that's tomorrow's guest list. Hopefully we can catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring also. So it'll be hopefully Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30, and it will be Ross Smith at 10 and KCD at 10:30. Virginia Tech, I know. Virginia Tech's still in the ACC, and Ohio State is still in the B1G. So plenty of college soccer today, men's and women's side. Just find your favorite streaming channel and watch it there. Today, BN has Copa Libertadores at 6 and 8:30. BN and Español is simulcasting. Once again, you can catch all of that live at Fnatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you can catch all of that and all of the different leagues that they have. It is Nuestro Telecidio for the fans, Teise, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max Pro. TVV has been added, and you get all the BNs, which means you get AFCON, you get the Polish League, you get the French League, you get Canal 4, you get Tigo Sports now, you end up with CATV at times. So all of the BNs, everything they're attached to, it's there. CDO for the fans, Nuestro Tele, Liga 1 Max Pro. You can catch up with Luis Abram and Santi Sosa in the LPF. All of that's there at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps them out, helps you out, helps us out. So there you go. Apple and Season Pass, MLS Next Pro. It is LAFC 2 and Vancouver Whitecaps 2. I think that one is at Fullerton. That's at 10 o'clock. USL League 1 forward Madison at Breeze Stevens hosting Spokane at 8, and Angel City in Orlando is at 10:30 on CBS Sports Network in the NWSL. So that's your rundown for today. Okay. We got to get into what happened last night in the Sudamericana. And there were some matches last night, and we'll get into the final scores that were there. Bolivar beat Cienciano 2-0 at a +170, so they were a slight dog on the road. Alianza Lima beat Universidad Católica 2-1. They were a big underdog on the road and got the win at a +469. Then you end up with today, you have Godoy Cruz and Atletico, and Atletico is a +162 at Godoy Cruz at 6 o'clock. And then Central Cordoba is a big underdog going to Lanús. Lanús is a -118. There was a match last night that kicked off. That kicked off at 8:30. Independiente and Universidad de Chile. It was at the Avellaneda, and it was a big Independiente crowd. But Universidad de Chile had a lot of folks there. They were a big underdog at a +618. The match did not continue. The match started, but there were things that happened in the stands that caused it to go completely sideways. And frankly, it was one of the most shocking things to see on television. And to see it happen the way that it did and have the videos come out where you have, and this is what I wanted to get into with Nino when he comes and visits at 10 o'clock. The Barras getting involved, and it was just brawling, and the stadium was being torn from piece to piece, and the stadium was being used as weapons, and you had people jumping from upper decks to avoid the violence that was happening. And by all reports right now, you do have a couple of people who have passed, and you do have injuries. And it was one of the most shocking and disgusting things that has come across in quite some time. So here's what happened. And like I said, if you want to go find the videos, they're out there. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to show them. So here's the breakdown of what happened. Second half, you had the second leg of Independiente and Universidad de Chile. Early on, and this was like for an hour, Universidad de Chile fans were throwing things, and this is the first issue of this whole thing. At Independiente's home stadium, and I know that, you know, it happens in college football that if you are a visiting fan, you're going to get put in the nosebleeds. At Independiente's stadium, the Universidad de Chile fans were put, we'll phrase it in kind of an American parlance, they were put in the end zone in the 200s. So basically, it's the 100 level, 200 level. The Independiente fans were below the Universidad de Chile fans. The Universidad de Chile fans, as the visitors, were placed in the end zone in the 200s. And there were, on the home side, there are suites and things, and there are, it's not a straight bowl. You have the suites and folks that can view from various viewpoints. But the suites butted up against the edge of the 200 level where the Universidad de Chile fans were in that end zone. So from the end zone 200s, you have the Universidad de Chile fans throwing stuff for like an hour. I mean, literally, they are throwing things from the 200s down onto the home fans in the 100 section of the end zone for an hour. I mean, they're throwing rocks and they set seats on fire to separate them from the cement base in the 200 level. They set the seats on fire so they could separate them from the base that they were attached to so they could throw them. And so you have rocks and broken seats and things stolen from bathrooms, and you have parts of the stadium that were pulled from that stripped from their edges and their moldings, and it was used as weapons eventually, but they would be thrown as well from the 200s down to the 100s. Then what seemed to be the largest of all of these triggers that was happening, of all of these events that was coming from the Universidad de Chile fans in the 200s, someone had either a stun grenade or a flashbang. And how the police at Independiente covering around the stadium allowed that to get in, I don't know. I don't know what procedures were. I don't know what searches were. I don't know if there were what the idea was. Hey, you got a ticket, you got in the door. Someone had either a stun grenade or a flashbang, whatever you want to call it. And they threw it from the 200s. They went to the edge of the 200 section and threw it into the suites. Literally, you have there. The video is there where you see someone with that flashbang, and they throw the grenade into the suites. It goes off, and then all hell breaks loose, even more so than it had previously. So you have things being thrown by the Universidad de Chile fans down to the Independiente fans below. A flashbang or a stun grenade or something being thrown into a suite. Matches stopped in the second half. Announcements made that the Universidad de Chile fans had to leave the stands, or the match was not going to continue. And they put a 20-minute clock on it. Some of the fans from Universidad de Chile, and this is that 200 section that we're talking about. The 200 section kind of empties out. And then you have the Independiente Barra, the Barra Brava, the Barra members of Independiente made their way into that 200 section and then chased the Universidad de Chile fans who had not left the stadium, chased them back into the 200 section, and then you have fighting going on with the Independiente Barras and the Universidad de Chile fans that were left there in the building. And there's this one piece of video where you literally see a couple of Universidad de Chile fans completely outnumbered, and they chase them up into the far corner of the 200 section. And this literally is probably like a 100-on-3. And you can guess what happened there because there are some stills out there that show it, the after effects. In all of this, going from all of the activity that was going on from the Universidad de Chile fans, from all of the throwing of stuff from the 200s down to the 100s, from all of the stuff from the flashbang or the stun grenade going into the suites, then they're kind of leaving. Then you have them being pushed back up into the 200s by the Independiente Barras. And the fighting's still going on. There's one word that I have not mentioned at all in this. Police. They did not exist. No police were there to escort folks inside the stadium outside. No police were there to break up the fighting in the 200s. And round 2 started when the Barras came up and they started chasing after the Universidad de Chile fans that were left in the 200s. No police presence inside the building at all that we could see. And it sure as hell wasn't being seen. So all of this is going on. No police presence whatsoever. And then this is where that video pops up where you see the one Chilean fan who literally is in the 200s, and he's at the top of the 200s, and he scales the edge of the 200s, and he falls to escape what was coming to him. According to published reports, provincial police had about 650 police present, 150 private security personnel, so that's 800. Did not stop the Independiente fans who went after the Universidad de Chile fans, either in the stadium or in the stadium proper or in the concourse. And there are stills that our friends at TIC had. They went late night coverage, and they were live from outside the stadium. It was fantastic coverage of covering a news event. No, from what we could tell, no police influence whatsoever inside the stadium proper. What they did is there were appearances from the video that was being shown live on television that you had the police force that was outside the stadium at Independiente forming a bit of a cordon. And that was how they were ushering the Universidad de Chile fans away from the stadium. They had it's like, okay, here's your exit route and here's where you're going. Didn't matter what you looked like. Didn't matter if you had all your clothes on. Didn't matter if you were bloody or clean. Literally, there was one piece of video where it looked like, and I'm anticipating that this was an Universidad de Chile fan. Bloody from head to the waistline, down his back. He probably got hit in the back of the head with something. And he's staggering around trying to avoid contact, I guess, from his attackers. Tries to hide next to a police horse. And you see the police basically tell him to keep going that way. Don't treat him for his injuries. Don't sit there and ask him what's wrong. They just send him on his way down the cordon. I mean, and it was a mess from back of his head all the way down to his waistline. And you had the Independiente cordon that was there, the police that were there. They were making sure that they were arresting folks that were walking that way. Kind of by association is how it looked. This was not a good look for the police force in the area. This was not a good look for CONMEBOL. And you wonder what CONMEBOL is going to say about this. CONMEBOL waited as long as possible to restart the game. It didn't get restarted. Impossible to continue, game canceled. Both teams could be booted out of the tournament for the behavior that was here. Chilean reports this morning. So far, reports of 19 Chileans injured, 2 in serious condition and undergoing neurosurgery. The ambassador also counted a total of 97 fans that were detained by Argentine police. 3 women and 5 minors. And there was also video from TIC where you had one Independiente fan who was put on a gurney and put in the back of an ambulance. Nestor Grandetti, the president of Independiente, went live on TIC from inside the locker room, and this was about midnight Eastern. Placed all responsibility on Universidad de Chile. Reprehensible behavior from their supporters. They destroyed our bathrooms, took artifacts, threw them in the stands. Violence I'd never seen before. Angry, bitter, and distressed. The Independiente fans didn't deserve such a thing. Grandetti defended the security operation, stating that the precautions taken were logical and stating that the tickets given to the Universidad de Chile, which were 3,500, agreed upon with CONMEBOL. Universidad de Chile, according to ESPN, received a shipment of 5,000, greater than the normal capacity of the visiting section, thanks to a negotiation between the two clubs. So we'll give you more tickets than we can house. That doesn't sound like a good place to start. Grandetti said, we will defend Independiente's position in all appropriate instances. We await the report from CONMEBOL. Based on that report, we will defend Independiente. There is a clear culprit, the Universidad de Chile fan. I don't know if President Grandetti saw round number 2, but that was not Universidad de Chile fans attacking themselves. President of Chile came out with a statement regretting confusion in the stands, highlighted concern for Chilean fans as well. But what happened at the Avellaneda between Independiente and Universidad de Chile was scary. And it legitimately was absolutely scary. Absolutely scary. And it's stuff that has no place whatsoever. And so when our buddy Nino Torres hops in and we discuss things, obviously we're going to be talking about what happened at the Avellaneda last night. That's going to be the lead. And there are other things to talk about, but I want to, and it might end up being like rapid fire of all the other topics. But I do want to try and understand what happened last night. I'm not going to waste any time. Our buddy Nino Torres is dropping in, and it is time to go fully loaded for more than one reason or another. How are you, my brother?
Hello, Johnny. I mean, usually I'm all pumped up. You know me. I'm full of energy, but this is a sad day for soccer, man. It's a sad day for society. It's a sad day for fans. I wish I could give you a better good morning than this one, but I can't. I can't.
No. What I did is I kind of flipped the show a little bit, and I tried to get all of the transfer news and all of the other news out of the way early. And for the last 15 minutes or so, I've been trying to break down what happened last night. And I wanted to ask you what the response has been publicly in South America this morning after what happened last night. Is everyone on the same page that you and I are, where it was scary, it was uncalled for, it has no place in the sport, and there should be a lot of folks that have to answer for this, and I don't know if they will, but it is a night that we will never forget, and it's for the wrong reason.
First off, when the first thing that it comes to my mind is the organization, right? The logistics of these type of games, and knowing that their fans are coming from outside the country. I'm not saying that you gotta be scared of fans coming out of the country, but I'm gonna go more into the details with the Chilean fan base, not the fan base, but these ultras, so-called, these criminals, man. They're just criminals. I'm gonna call it like they are. They're outlaws. I mean, they're bad people. All right. But if it's this organization, brother, when Universidad de Deportes plays here in at the Monumental, brother, there's 2,000 police officers, 2,000. All right. Where was that police in the Libertadores de America Stadium? They were nowhere to be found. They were nowhere to be found. The police. They were watching the game. They were watching the game. They were not looking at the stands where they should be. Right. If you are a policeman, if you are part of the security, if you have the responsibility, right, to protect these people, right? For things like this to happen, where were you? Okay, so they provided that section, that away section for the Chilean fans, right? In the upper bowl, right? In the upper bowl, and when they started when they started to throw things to the lower bowl, but there was I don't know if you guys know about this, right? But before the incidents on the stands, the Chileans from the Chile, they went to the bathrooms. They went to the bathrooms. They broke down the pieces of the bathrooms here, and I don't know if you know these guys, but they sexually assault the cleaning ladies.
Wow.
Okay, and they broke the pieces of the bathroom. They destroyed the bathrooms, and they carried all whatever they could to the upper bowl to start throwing things to the fans, to Independiente fans, right? They were throwing feces, Johnny. They were throwing feces. It was just what is wrong with these people, man? What is wrong with these people, man? How will you go? How could you mission would be go to a different country, go to the away section, go. I mean, forget about the different country. You don't go anywhere and thinking I'm gonna hurt people. I'm gonna make you feel bad. I'm gonna sexually assault your lady cleaners. Who thinks like that, man? Who thinks like that? All right. And then when Mr. Throw things, Johnny, they were throwing toilets, pieces of toilets to the Independiente fans. And this is where the things were part of the fan culture in Argentina is like this. They feel like the police won't protect them. They feel like the barra bravas will protect them. So first the chants were, "Hey, police, come over here." They were calling the police. The fans were calling the police. Police didn't show up. So, oh, okay, you're not coming up. We're gonna call our people. We're gonna call our people, and they start singing, and on the ultras, you know, the badass fans from Independiente, they came to protect their people. I'm not, and of course you saw what happened. They put in everyone against the corner, and unfortunately, there like I think it's like 3 people died falling from the upper bowl. But I didn't see. Did you see any police officer, Johnny, coming into the upper bowl?
Nope.
There's no. There's all out of all the video footage that we all saw. There's not a single police, in that upper bowl where everything happened.
Mm-mm.
That's an Independiente, right? That not just an Independiente. That's in the city of Avellaneda, right? The city of Avellaneda should be responding for this, because where is your police? Where are all the effectives? Where is your security plan for this? Okay, where is all that? Okay, and man. And I'm so mad. I'm just so mad because this shouldn't happen, man. This should never happen.
And I mean, I've been trying to approach this in a very news anchory way, because here's the facts, here's what we know, all this kind of stuff, and we're fortunate that we have you as a sounding board to kind of go through all of this. But let me go back to some of the news that we were looking at. And like I said, I was watching TAC till 12:30, 1 o'clock this morning. I mean, they were on it, and they were outside the stadium. So, and here's one of the things that you mentioned. So TAC catches up with Nestor Grandetti, president of Independiente. And like I said, this was about midnight Eastern. And he says, reprehensible behavior from the youth supporters. They destroyed our bathrooms, took artifacts, threw them in the stands. Violence I'd never seen before. Angry, bitter, and distressed. The Independiente fans didn't deserve such a thing. Grandetti defended the security operation, stating that the precautions taken were logical, and stating that the tickets given to Universidad de Chile, 3,500, were agreed upon with CONMEBOL. According to ESPN, Universidad de Chile received 5,000 tickets, greater than the normal capacity of the visiting section, thanks to a prior negotiation between the two clubs. Grandetti continued. He goes, "We will defend Independiente's position in all appropriate instances. We await the report from CONMEBOL. Based on that report, we'll defend Independiente. There is a clear culprit, the Universidad de Chile fan." He's half right. He is half right, because first and foremost, and like I said, I don't know the Avellaneda, so it's a stadium set up to me that I'm learning on the fly. So, and I was explaining the layout, and I said, okay, what they did for the visitors is they gave them the 200 section in the end zone. So basically, to put it in American terms, it's the 200 section in the end zone.
Right.
So what you do now, let me see if I'm wrong. So what you do if you're Independiente, you give 15 over 35, divide by 5, so like 40%. You overbook by 40. You overbook the 200 section by 40%. You oversell it by 40%. You put the away fans in that 200 section above your own fans in the 100 section, making them prime targets for anything. And I mean, in college football, they could be like drinks. You throw drinks or whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm still trying to figure out why you're giving, and like I said, it might just be the way the stadium is structured, why you're giving your away fans that you overbook the 200 section to turn your fans into targets where you couldn't put them someplace else where they were more confined or anything like that.
Is
that the standard layout that the visitors get the 200s in the end zone? I mean, that is my first legitimate question. I don't know.
It is, Johnny. It is. It's a standard policy in with the away fans. You put away in that corner, upper bowl corner. That's technically the safest place to be, right? When you're an away fan, but you were not expecting the away because the away fans, they're like 5% of the capacity of the stadium.
Yeah.
I guess you were not expecting this kind of behavior. I've seen it, but I usually the away fans everywhere, man, everywhere. It's 2,000 people versus 50,000 people. You're not gonna win any freaking battle. All right, you're not gonna win. So ergo, you behave, right? You trying to be, you trying to be respectful, right? Usually when the away fans, they win the away games, they stay in the stadium and they celebrate after everybody's gone, right? I don't know what the heck's wrong with the Chileans, brother. I'm sorry. And this is the second time, brother. This is the second time. They did it against the Colo-Colo versus Fortaleza not long ago. Okay. And another incident in the Colo-Colo Stadium at the Uber Chile Stadium. So this is a big problem that Chile is having with their fans. All right. This is a big problem they're having with their fans. They're out of control. I don't know what is going on with Chile nowadays, because usually, not usually. Oh no, come on! I know Chileans are really, really, really annoying. I want to put it like that, okay? But unlike every other fan from South America, from Ecuador, from Paraguay, from Brazil, they have a different way. All right, they have a different way to a twisted mind. They're more twisted than everyone else in South America. I'm gonna say that. Just to give you an example, right? This doesn't have to do actually with the fans, but with the Chilean officers and people from the front office for Chile.
Yeah.
When went to Chile, to the National Stadium in Chile back in '97. All right, they put military chants on our locker room, in the Peruvian locker room. They put speakers, brother. They put speakers with military bands, right? chanting military things for Chile, and they painted, they put fresh paint on the Peruvian locker room. All right, I said the Peruvian national team was arriving at 2 o'clock, and they finished painting at 1 p.m. So just to give you an idea, they're twisted. They're twisted in a different way than everyone else in the continent, brother. And I'm sorry that they're Chileans here. I got Chilean family, but sorry guys, I mean that. And then you ask why Chileans are not liked by anyone else in South America. All right, this is a culture. It's everyone versus Chile. When a Chilean team goes to play a Uruguayan team, everyone supports the Uruguayans. When a Chilean team goes play to Colombia, everyone supports the Colombians. It is like that. It is like that. They earn that pretty annoying badge, but this case is not annoying. This is criminal, man. This is criminal what they did, and it was a criminal response too from Independiente del Valle. But they're both criminals. But hey,
I mean, and I mentioned that Grandetti is half right. He is half right that the first wave that triggered all of the activity was coming from the Universidad de Chile fans. And literally, when you see that flashbang go in, or the whatever you want to call it, the flashbang or the grenade or whatever, go into the suite, you still have no cops. There are no cops. And they say, okay, look, we're suspending the match. Everybody go inside, 20 minutes. The Universidad de Chile fans, you got a jet. You're done. So most of them go. And then that's when the Barras take over, because the police certainly isn't going to do it. And the Universidad de Chile fans that were still in the building, the Barras are like, oh, hey, look, and puts them back in the 200s and tries to be the pseudo police force there and take care of matters for their fans. For someone who doesn't understand the idea of the Barras, can you break that down as to who they are, influence, those kinds of things? Where are the Barras and what are the Bravas when it comes the Barras when it comes to the fabric of clubs? What specifically are they, and what do they do?
All right, the ultras, the Barra Bravas, right? Barra Bravas, there's an organization. It's not just a bunch of guys. No, it's an organization that every single club has, right? They have the leader, they got one leader, and they have usually there are three more in the hierarchy, right? There's the leader and three more that they are the I don't know, you can call them the consiglieres, if you want to call them like that, right? The consiglieres, and they got the strong arm, they got the financial arm, and they got the logistics arm. That's the structure of the Barras. Now, when and the leader is the one that negotiates all the tickets and all the travels, right? Because they travel with the team to everywhere in the continent. All right, he's the one who organized that. Now they understand that when the way that the Barra logistics works when they go away is they got several people up front, several people on the flanks, and several people on the back. They're like wolves protecting their people. The average fan goes in the middle, and they're protected by all four flanks by the Barras. That's how they travel. That's how they travel to Brazil. They're going to Chile. They're going to everywhere like that, right? That when they play at home, the average fan goes in the stadium first, and then they set up the section for the Barra Bravas, okay, and they wait for the leader for the leaders to come in last. They enter in last to the stadium, so they get all the communication between them. And once the average fan, they know, they have a code for this. I don't know it's a different name for teams in Argentina, but they have a code for this one. They hit this. Oh, let's put it red code. It's code red, right? Code red. Okay, they send their army. They send their army. That's how they work.
Because and obviously that was what happened. It was obviously you've done this to our fans, so therefore, since there's no since the police aren't responding, we're going to respond because you're in our building and you're doing this to our fans. So basically, that's the response in absence of the police force that was outside the building and arresting the standard Universidad de Chile fans who had been in round 2 that had been roughed up. That's where you saw the police were outside making sure that the Universidad de Chile fans were going down that one exit route. And then those fans, it's like, okay, dude's bloody, dude's falling down. Nope, keep going. It's like, we're not going to treat you. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah. Yeah. And you know the thing with the fans is with the average fans in Argentina is that they trust more the barras than the cops. They trust more in the barras to protect them than the cops. That's how it works in Argentina.
And we definitely saw that last night. What do you anticipate happening with the clubs? Do you think they both get booted out?
Look, they should because when, like you said, it's halfway through. All right, the other half is I'm responsible for this half. You're responsible for the other half. So you both need to get penalized. All right. Right now they already in Asunción. They flew to Asunción already. The executives from Independiente and from Chile. They flew immediately to Asunción this morning, bro. This morning they flew to Asunción because they know what's coming. It's going to be harsh. I mean, the decision from CONMEBOL is going to be harsh. Now, these are the 3 scenarios. These are the 3 possible scenarios. Number 1, which I don't think they should be because the game hasn't been postponed, has been canceled. Not postponed, canceled. Number 1 scenario is that they could play the remaining 45 minutes for closed doors, right? Closed doors, no fans. Okay. Number 2, it's that they could give the 3-0 result, a walkover result. But I don't know who they're going to give it to. They're going to give it to Independiente. They're going to give it to the Chile. Who are they going to give it to? I don't know. Now, the 3rd scenario, we haven't seen this, but most likely I'm leaning to think that this is what's going to happen, that they both are going to be canceled.
Does CONMEBOL have the cojones to do that? Does CONMEBOL have the cojones to do that?
I hope so. I really do. Now, that's when the Peruvian connection comes in here, because if both are canceled, they're both eliminated from the competition. Alianza Lima goes straight to the semifinals without playing the quarterfinals because they want to play against the winner of this leg. So now I was listening and I'm reading today that this is not going to be quick. Okay, it's not going to be quick. It could take 5 days. It could take 10 days, 15 days. Who knows? Who knows how long it's going to take? But I'm leaning to believe that I don't think it's going to be. This is going to be a long process. I think it's going to be quick because CONMEBOL is Dominguez is like, all right, I got to prove to the world that I'm efficient. So I think it's more like no, it's not about cojones. It's about the leverage here. All right. I think it's about leverage that if he takes this big decision, I think it's gonna look so good on Dominguez. So he cares more about himself than anything else, brother. So
okay, we'll put a bookmark in that, and thank you for going a deep dive on this because it's an important topic, and I wanted to have our audience understand how things work and how they function and what CONMEBOL isn't doing and what the local didn't do in this situation. And I figured we were going to end up going long on this particular topic this morning. And thank you for
Yeah, I
my
mean,
for the forbearance
so,
on that. I know that you got another couple of topics on here. You want to go? You just want to
yeah.
go straight to the good news, and we'll save Benfica and Peru for later.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea, brother, because I need something positive to talk about, man. Yes. So Alianza Lima, talking about Peruvians, right? Talking about the Peruvian connection. Alianza Lima is in the quarterfinals of the Copa Sudamericana, and they did what no Peruvian team was able to do in the last 18 meetings, 18 trips to Ecuador, 18 losses. 18 losses. And Alianza Lima finally stopped the drought and finally get a win in Ecuador for the first time ever for Alianza Lima. And they pull it off. They pull it off. There was it's a comprehensive win, like the same way they did in the first leg in Lima. In At first, I was hearing a lot of Peruvians media. They're Alianza Lima fans. They don't want to say it, but they are Alianza Lima fans. That they were also cocky. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of this business. I'm gonna put 3, 4, 5 goals on these guys. I was like, I am not so sure that it's gonna be like that, brother. I don't think so. And boom, right away, Católica score, and it was 1-1, and I was like, okay, you see, it's gonna be a close game. But the reality is that Católica didn't have that offensive power to do the damage that they needed in order to turn around the series against Alianza. Kevin Quevedo was brilliant. Hernan Barcos. And I gotta say something for the Alianza Lima fans. If there's any Alianza Lima fan listening to this right now, what is wrong with you? Why you don't like your goalie? Huh? Why you don't like your goalie? Your goalie is fantastic, brother. Your goalie got you through here. You're in the quarterfinals of the international competition for the first time since 1978, and you blaming that your goal is not good enough? Come on, brother. Come on. Especially the journalists, brother. Oh, no, Vizcarra is this. No, he's inconsistent. Yeah, but he got you through in the Bombonera. He got you through in Matute. He got you through in Quito. So what do you want from this goalie, man? National team goalie for Bolivia. Come on, brother. Billy Vizcarra, I'm with
and
you,
then
brother.
Racing and Peñarol, that was some fantastic television. It really was.
You know, my initial topic right after that game was I was gonna put it, but I didn't. Whatever happened in Avellaneda changed everything, because I was gonna say that Copa Libertadores is bigger than Champions League, but I guess we gotta fix a few things in order to do that. But in terms of the pitch, coming straight from the pitch, from the essence of the game, I think it is. I think it is. It's more emotional. It's more dramatic, and especially with Peñarol and Racing, that they're two historical teams that haven't won the Libertadores in like forever. I mean, I'm talking for Peñarol since last time was in 1987. Racing won it only once, but they won the Sudamericana. And remember, Johnny, that I said that Racing is my dark horse. I think Racing could be the only one who could represent us against the almighty Brazilians. They got even more money every year. Looks like they're the billionaires. And we're just working class brothers in South America, trying to take those fancy Brazilians out of the top of the standings in CONMEBOL, brother. I don't know. They probably. I'm telling you, I think Racing is going to go into the finals. Hopefully they win. Hopefully they stop the Brazilians.
What are you calling this weekend?
They're ready, people. They're ready. Es the clásico. Es Universitario de Deportes versus Alianza Lima at the Monumental in Ate. That's Sunday night soccer, brother. 6:30 p.m. And I'll be there. I can't wait. And I got the Porto and Benfica games too. But It's Universitario and Alianza, man. It is so good. It's edition 375 of the Clásico. 375, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man. It's a lot of matches, man. A lot of history. And in Peru, there's still there are no away fans in the Liga 1. There are no away fans. It's been like that, like what is it, 5 years now. 5 years, and it's working.
Yep. By the way, Universidad de Deportes, even money plus 100. 90-minute draws a plus 183. Alianza Lima a plus 338.
You know it, baby.
You're even money.
You know it, baby.
I know that you got to rest those pipes too, because I imagine it was a late night and it was a lot of chaos that was attached to it. I cannot thank you enough for the education and for being one of our main voices here, part of the La Familia that gets to break everything down here every Thursday. Be safe, my friend. Have great calls this weekend. And we're going to put a bookmark in Benfica in Peru, because when I saw the Benfica thing go down where the dude's on CNN Portugal and he's laying all this stuff out, I'm like, are you serious? So, so that ain't changing anything. I know. So what we'll do, I mentioned that Benfica, that's going to get a bookmark. Peru's going to get a bookmark. We'll talk about that next week. Love you very much, my friend. Be safe, and say hi to the four-legged wonder at your feet that's been shaking off and scratching all morning.
I know. He's kind of sick now because I got to put the cone on him because he has some things on his legs. So I got to put got to take care of my buddy. He's not happy with the cone, but the cone is going to save you, brother.
He's going to protect you. Love you very much, my friend. Be safe. We'll see you next week. All right, that's Nino Torres from GOLTV. Cone of shame. That's awful. The cone of shame. That is just not the way. Oh yeah, and he's on. Okay, so in the green room, he's trying to get comfortable on the sofa. You know, when you're a four-legged friend and you're trying to get comfortable on the sofa and you've got the cone of shame, there's no real way to get comfortable. And literally, you know, he's spinning around trying to get comfortable and make his marks and everything. But literally, the first thing you notice, as Nino took his camera and he showed it to the back of the room on the sofa, the first thing you notice on the ISO to the sofa is the cone of shame. It's not the dog that's attached to it, but the size of the cone of shame. And it is a full size, and you know, I'm guessing about 15 pounds. But the cone of shame in and of itself for a 15 to 20 pound dog, swear to God, it's about 3 inches further out, and it's about I think that legitimately, I think that Nino could get Central American television with the size of that cone as a TV receiver. That's how big that cone of shame is in the Casa de Nino. That's what it is. So we need Nino, the national treasure, to save his pipes, because you could tell the engine was a little cold this morning. We need to make sure that all of the warmest of the warm liquids are there, because if he's got a rivalry match this weekend, he's got a rivalry match where he's a plus 100 going in, plus Portugal. You can get that at GOLTV. You can get GOLTV at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Once again, helps them out, helps us out, helps you out. Continue your continued degenerate adding of leagues and networks and things like that all around the world. But that has been our link to our buddy Nino Torres. And like I said, I thought it was important this morning, and the fact that sadly that it happened on a Wednesday night, and Nino comes in on Thursday mornings. That was, for us, the timing could not have been any better to get the education about what's going on in South America and find out about South American soccer and kind of get a knowledge base and an understanding for some of the background that is in these situations. Do I like talking about them? No. Is it important to talk about them when they happen? Yes. This should be a worldwide lead. What happened last night at the Avellaneda. And I mean, like I said, when we get updates, we'll get updates. We'll let you know what's going on. Yes, there were some other things that we need to get into. There's just silliness at Benfica right now involving a former president who wants to become president once again, does a bombshell interview on CNN Portugal, Basically says, yeah, I signed like 400. And he was president, I think, for like 18 years. Signs like 400 players, loans them out over time. And he admitted in this interview on Portuguese television, yeah, I signed them so I could loan them and flip them. That's basically what dude said. He's like, yeah, I signed all these guys, it's whether they were supposed to be here or not, long term. I signed them to loan them and flip them. So, I mean, he is a Luis Felipe Vieira is who we're talking about. And Luis Felipe Vieira wants to be president of Benfica again. But he admits all these things in this interview it's seen in Portugal, and he wants to become president for Benfica once again. So we'll get into that next week. And obviously, with what's going on in Peru, it's that has its own moments of going sideways as well. But no, we were very, very fortunate that Nino was going to be with us in that 10 o'clock slot and shoot. I mean, if it had happened on a different day and 10 o'clock was open, I probably would have kicked the tires on bringing Nino in special to discuss what happened last night. That's how important this was. Coming up last half hour, it's going to be our buddy Niko Moreno coming out of Seattle. We're going to discuss Leagues Cup, all the craziness there, and all of the stuff involving Major League Soccer coming up this weekend. Once again, the rundown for the rest of the week. Today is today. Tomorrow, I'm leaving this hotel room. I'm heading to another hotel room because I have some TV shoots in between. So literally, when the show is over, I'm smashing all the equipment, checking out of the hotel, and heading to the shoot. Get the shoot over with, drive north, closer to home. Then Friday's show will be in a different hotel room in Middle Georgia, about 2 hours from Atlanta. And then we'll do that show. And then there are some other things that I've got to do in the hotel. And I'm going to pray for a late checkout. Then we've got a shoot Friday night. And then we'll be back Saturday. Atlanta United 2 is taking on Orlando City B. That'll be on the network from Osceola Heritage Park in Kissimmee. Halftime before kick, half an hour before kick, it'll be the pregame show. We'll catch up with the interim head coach Jose Silva. Players, we'll get you set up in MLS Next Pro, get you ready for the weekend, and we'll take you through getting ready for Atlanta United 2 and OCB. Sunday, Atlanta United, Toronto FC, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 4:10 kick, Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, 92.9 The Game, and the Odyssey app. And it'll be Mike and Jason and Maddie and all of the parts. Then after the match on Sunday, the unified game is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so unified game at Mercedes-Benz, atlutd.com/live. So it'll be on YouTube, and Maddie and Jason will be on the call. I'll be downstairs for that. So you'll be able to catch the unified game after the matchup with Atlanta United and Toronto FC. Post-game, so we're going to have like things going simultaneously. So it'll be post-game on 92.9 The Game. The full-time report's going on while we're getting ready for the unified match. Unified match will be going on at atlutd.com/live, and we'll have that one for you on YouTube, and then we'll get you going there. Then back at it again on Monday, and then next Thursday and Friday, once again, because of shoots getting ready for high school football season, next Thursday and Friday, I will be in a hotel room in Middle Georgia. Same hotel room. It won't have different backgrounds like it has been in the past. So it will be a different hotel room next week. But yes, so different hotel room next week, and so we'll let you know what's going on with everything there. So remember, rest of this week, tomorrow's show's normal. It is 9:05 kick. Try and see if our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can be with us at 9:30. Ross Smith from Apple TV and MLS is going to be on at 10. KCD is going to be on. KCD White's going to be joining us at 10:30, and then we'll get you ready. We'll get you ready for the weekend. Then we'll have hopefully Beyond Goals Mentoring, Ross Smith, KCD, and then that'll be the show to get you into the weekend. And so that's where we are there. Okay, quick reminders as we go. Remember, go to Olive in York and get the SDH jersey. Kaiser Permanente across the front. Can't do a lot of this. Can't do 99% of this without our friends at Kaiser Permanente. And so Kaiser Permanente across the front, Olive in York jersey, the floppy blue navy collar, and proceeds help out our Soccer for Good campaign. Beyond Goals Mentoring on one sleeve, the Soccer for Good on the other sleeve. And you can get the lettering, the personalization, either in white letters and numerals or the lighter blue, the Columbia blue, the Tar Heel blue, the double blue, whatever you want to say. That can happen as well. So personalization consult with Alex and Abby and figure out which one works best for you when it comes to what you want to have for your personalization on your jersey. Olive and York Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025. We mentioned Fanatis. We mentioned Olive and York. Don't forget, you can go to the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation website. You can get all the gear. We've got to pre-order the new round of scarves because our logo changed. So we've got to do that. But go buy the gear. Helps them out. Don't know if you saw the interview on Golazo Network where a couple of the players caught up with Nico Contor and Morning Footy. And it was a nice 12-minute dedication to what the Marshall Islands are doing there. So that's big. And once again, you can help them out, and we'll try and catch up with them when they get their lives calmed back down. And they're over back in England, and they'll be in the middle of the afternoon catching up with us. So we'll catch up with them, find out if it's sunk in yet, and we'll have those kind of conversations as we go. So there's that. There is Grady Baby, where you can get your Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gold embossed T-shirt and sweatshirt. The SDH logo is on your left cuff. Grady Baby logo on your right cuff. And the proceeds from that, as a part of our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25, they help out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta public school system. And so that will be the help there that is attached to all of our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. Go to soccerdownhere.net. You can get all of your SDH network gear. You can get all of like the koozies and the stickers and the T-shirts and all the things. And we're still working on retro sections of the uniform and all of the gear as well. But it's the new look, the new logo. You can get it on T-shirts and things like that. You go to soccerdownhere.net. Go to the shop section. You can go shopping at an SDH and get all the SDH network gear. And you can support the cause that way. Also, what you can do is you can go to our friends at what's the last one? Chant. You can become a Fanatico, and what you can do by becoming a Fanatico is you go to the Chant app, and once again you go right here, and it actually, because it is not as lighted as it is in Office HD here in the hotel room, you can actually see what's going on. So it's a picture of Hendo and Miggy right there, and you can, for $10 a year, be a Fanatico and be a part of the Fanatico, be a part of our network there. And what you can do is, for $10 a year, you can hook up with a lot of great partners that we have that are part of everything that is attached to our Soccer for Good campaign, all of that. And so become a Fanatico, $10 a year. What do you do for $10 a year? You can do this, and you can really help out part of our Soccer for Good campaign. Here are the partners that we have, and this is expanding a lot as we go here. So here's how it looks. Brass Tap in Marietta, Moxie Hotel Midtown Atlanta, 20% off hotel food and beverage. You got that. You got South Main Brewing in Watkinsville, Schoolhouse Brewing in Marietta, Atlanta Hard Cider Marietta, Elixir Brewing in Buford and Monroe, Round Trip in Marietta, Social Fox in Norcross, Keys to Flavor Catering in Sugar Hill. So if your first catered event with them, if you're a Fanatico, you tell them that and you get a discount. Fido Midtown, it is a 10% off food tabs. O'Sullivan's, $5 beers, select beers, not all of them. 10% off your food bill, 10% off your merch. So the Decatur FC merch that you want to get, if you're a Fanatico, you get 10% off down there in Decatur at O'Sullivan's. Lloyd, and big BLT sandwich too. Lloyd's Soccer, 20% off select Atlanta United gear at the Atlanta location in Johns Creek. Finished Goods Brew Works and Winders, Slow Pour in Lawrenceville, Outrun in Stone Mountain, Tires Plus in Alpharetta, Dad's Garage in downtown Atlanta, Chateau Arenal. This one's the fun one for me that I always like to reference. Chateau Arenal, by the way, it is a resort in El Castillo, San Ramon, Costa Rica. And there, you may stay. If you want to go see Alajuelense, Herediano, or Saprissa, or you want to go see whether it's League Play or CONCACAF Champions Extravaganza, whichever, then if you are a Fanatico, you get a percentage off your booking at Chateau Arenal with a code. If you're a Fanatico, you get a code. You can go stay at Chateau Arenal. You get a discount. So very, very cool thing there. That's probably the most cool and random part about being a Fanatico. Battle and Brew is Sandy Springs and the Battery, Wild Leap on Ted Turner Drive in Atlanta. And so those are the places that you can be locked in as a fanatico, and you can, once again, it's part of our Soccer for Good campaign, and it really helps out what we're trying to do. And let me add to the, yes, it is definitely a cone of shame, David, man. Because like I said, Nino's dog, like I said, maybe 15, 20 pounds. Big cone of shame. It's like it is a disproportionate cone of shame to the size of the dog. And I think that's, and I've always wondered if there was such a thing as a more proportionate cone of shame when it comes to dogs. But I guess the first person that figures that one out will be the one that makes the mint when it comes to everything involving everything that's involving, taking care of our furry friends. All right, let me see if I spelled it right. I think I did. Group.chant.fan. Come on, where is it? There we go. Group.chant.fan/soccer-down-here/join. That gets you your fanatico. That gets you the in the door with being a fanatico on a daily basis, and all of the different and cool things. And like I said, that roster is expanding for folks that you can go and visit and say, "Hey, I'm a fanatico. Hey, this says that I get this." But yeah, Moxie, Chateau Arenal, catering, a lot of brew houses, that kind of stuff. And once again, that's a part of our Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025. Update from Laurel Failer on DeAndre Yedlin. Finalizing a deal to send Yedlin to RSL for around $300,000 in GAM. According to Laurel, the move frees up his entire remaining budget charge for FC Cincinnati. Summer transfer window closes at 1 a.m., impacting the options for the club to replace Yedlin. So according to Laurel has it as FCC's losing a key contributor leader in the midst of its Supporters Shield push over the final 7 matches, sitting atop the Eastern Conference table in a tight race. Yedlin had not been in training the previous 2 days. RSL was the idea at the time the original article was posted. RSL was the lead landing spot, and that is in fact turning out to be the case. Comes after days after a report surfaced in Belgium from freelance reporter Claudio Rulans that the club has interest in American right back Brian Reynolds from Westerlo. However, a club source refuted the rumor. According to Rulans, Westerlo already declined a loan offer from Hoffenheim for Reynolds. And so Yedlin, remember, joined FC Cincinnati from Messi and friends last year. Final guaranteed season of his contract. 2 seasons, 67 matches in all comps, 59 starts, 27 appearances. 22 of those are starts. And 5 clearances, 2 recoveries in 89 minutes Saturday at Portland. According to Laurel, leader in the locker room, Pat Noonan's top choice at right wing back. But with the addition of Ender Echenike this summer, it was possible that Yedlin's role could diminish. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Nico slept in. General Manager Chris Albright described Echenike as a right wing back when he spoke to local media July 8 after the signing. Noonan has been utilizing Echenike at forward in his first couple of matches with FCC. Echenike impressed with his speed. However, the club also has 25-year-old forward Ayoub Jabari, soon arriving from Grenoble in Ligue 2. So that might mean that Echenike goes back to his right wing back position. Jabari goes into his forward position, and that means Yedlin would be odd man out. Right wing back depth currently includes Alvis Powell, Luca Orejano, Yuya Kubo, who have seen time there, currently either injured or working back from injury. FCC has an option on Yedlin's contract for 26, turning 33 next summer, making $948,750 in guaranteed comp. That is a high price tag, $948,750. So that is that is the update to the original story involving DeAndre Yedlin and his move to RSL. So once again, like I said, keep an eye on the intra-league transfers today, because once again, you have until 1 o'clock in the morning to figure things out. And so that's the marker here for Major League Soccer. And then once this is done, we'll take stock for the final 7, 8, or 9 matches. We'll see who did some moves, who didn't, and if there's anything else going on that is that we need to keep an eye on here for the stretch run when it comes to when it comes to Major League Soccer as we go. So, all right, let's take the tour and find out what is going on in all of the news and the worldwide news and stories that we kind of need to keep an eye on. Let's see. So it's 67.5 million is what it looks like with Arsenal and Eze and Crystal Palace. And so the Lisbeth Ovalle deal that we talked about a couple days ago with Orlando, still on the books, not official yet. And so we're keeping an eye on Lisbeth Ovalle, and we'll find out what the deal is there if it is something going forward. Okay. Overseas, in addition to what we were talking about this morning, Matty Cash at Aston Villa began his career at Forest. Could he be heading back? Apparently, Forest is also pursuing Sevilla's Jose Angel Carmona to fill a position. Once again, you're looking at Newcastle and Johan Vissa, 40 million bid rejected by Brentford, while Isak is waiting to figure out what's going on. Set your fantasy teams appropriately, because it does not look like Alexander Isak will be playing this weekend at this point. So point of no return. And so that means, yeah, he's probably sitting, and we'll see what the latest is, if there is anything, that there is any latest. Let's put it up that way. Arsenal's weighing up on offer for Morgan Rogers. So Villa will only entertain offers in the region of 80 million pounds. That's from the three-letter paper. Leipzig, once again, we mentioned Leipzig agreeing to personal terms for Harvey Elliott. Netherlands midfielder Xavi Simon looks close to be completing a move to Chelsea, according to Florian Plettenberg. Marseille interested in Kostas Tsimikas, who's expected to leave Liverpool this summer. Rasmus Højlund and his camp have made clear to the likes of Napoli and Leipzig he prefers a loan move with an obligation to buy. Once again, it's from our friend Fabrizio Romano. Forest in talks to sign Sevilla 23-year-old Spanish right-back Jose Angel Carmona. And we mentioned Matty Cash. That's the work that we're seeing from David Ornstein et al. Everton still want to sign new players. David Moyes wanted like 6 new players. I don't know if he's gotten close to 6. Still want to sign new players before the deadline. Could make another bid for Southampton's forward Tyler Dibbling. Villa's Alex Moreno, who's 32, on the verge of joining Girona after the Spanish left-back agreed to reduce his wages. Spurs stepping up their efforts to sign Brentford defender Nathan Collins, who has attracted interest from Liverpool. Bournemouth have opened talks with Chelsea over a loan deal for France centre-back Axel Disasi. Yaphet Tanganga, Sheffield United leading the race for Millwall defender, which is where he is now. Sassuolo and Verona seeing bids rejected earlier in the window, valued around £7 million. Blades also set to sign Everton defender Ben Godfrey on loan from Atalanta, trying to see if there's anybody else in the big name category. Coventry saw a bid for Ipswich's Luke Wolfenden rejected. They want to keep him at Portman Road. Reading are leading the race to sign Jack Marriott. And Barnsley boss Conor Hurahan has admitted he's keen to bringing Southampton striker Dom Ballard to the club. So that's the gossip, in addition to what we saw this morning from our friend Ben Jacobs, leading into all of the other conversations that are there. Okay. Yeah, here's so yes, I figured it was a late night. So Nico's just getting back to me here. So all right, so hang on. I have to let me send a note to Nico really quickly. So it's all good. So apparently it's a day off for the kids at school. So Nico, I figured it was a late night because of Leagues Cup, not because of Leagues Cup, and then making sure that you didn't have to find places for folks. But yeah, his alarm just went off. So it's all Nico. It's all good. It's all good. I figured it was a late night, and so we've been talking about stuff. All right, so let's see what other storylines we can find here that I might have missed before we get out of here at 11:05. So let's see. Jeremy Frimpong has an injury, and Arne Slot has revealed that for Liverpool. Arsenal once again booking the Eze medical. Let me see what we got. Let's see. Hang on. No, let's see. Let's see. So hang on. So I'm trying to I'm negotiating here with Niko. Hang on. It's all right. So let's see. Dramatically stolen Eze because of the injury blow to Kai Havertz. Isak's statement: broken promises, lost trust. We're still looking at 110 million. United enduring frustration with their keeper situation, could yet rival Man City for Donnarumma. We talked about Rasmus Højlund. Leeds and Noah Okafor. We talked about Garnacho. Chelsea closing in on Enciso, still working on a deal for Garnacho. Garnacho is being approached by other clubs, and he is not interested in the least about going anyplace else. He's like, nope, not interested, not happening, not interested, don't want to do it. And so I have no interest in going to anywhere but Chelsea. And so, sure enough, that he has no interest in going anywhere else but Chelsea, and so he is holding out for any place else, any place and every place that is not listed that is Chelsea. It's like, seriously, like literally, if it is anybody other than Chelsea, he's not interested. Not interested at all. Let's see. Tottenham is keen on Monaco's Magnus Akliush after the Eze snub, so that's what Matt Law is saying at the moment. Let's see. As I sit here and try to, there's a story out that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos is countersuing Spurs over the deal linked to the Harry Kane transfer. That is out there. The Diogo Jota Foundation, according to Ben Rumsby, has no connection to the family or Liverpool FC. The website is soliciting donations, claiming it has raised more of £50,000, but the club know nothing about it. So Ben Rumsby is saying that this is something that has no attachment to the club whatsoever. And as it ends up, so let me go to my app so I can actually read the story, because the paper is not registering in the website here in the hotel. So here we go. So let me go to the Rumsby story here in the Telegraph. Okay, from Rumsby, a foundation set up in memory of Diogo Jota facing questions after it emerged it had no connection to his family or Liverpool. It has been soliciting donations via website, created 3 days after the tragic death, says it raised $64,250, which is $47,715 in pounds. So the donation page, which takes users through an offsite platform, appears only to allow donations in the form of crypto, USDT, ETH, and other crypto through Now payments securely. Site features logos for Liverpool, UNICEF, Allianz, and the Portuguese platform of development NGOs, non-governmental organizations, 3 of which have told Telegraph Sport it is doing so without their knowledge and that they are not working in partnership with the foundation. Charity Commission has also confirmed it received no registration application from the foundation, which lists its addresses in London, New York, and Lisbon on its website, as well as associated phone numbers. Only a listed UK mobile phone number was working Thursday, calls and texts to which went unanswered, as did an email to the contact email. Website homepage describes the foundation's mission as honoring the legacy of Diogo Jota. It adds, quote, through football education and hope we can carry forward the light he left behind, creating opportunity, joy, and lasting impact for the youth of Gondomar and beyond. The foundation was conceived with one goal. It keeps going. Site says foundation has 3 core pillars: football programs, mentoring, and community partnerships. Purported quote from Jota, close family friend, with a quote. According to the site, the foundation has distributed 25,000 meals, sponsored 300 children in school, built 50 local partnerships. Liverpool have told Telegraph Sport they and Jota's family know nothing about the foundation or the website. Last month, the club announced they were their own official charity, that through their own official charity, the LFC Foundation, they had committed to creating a grassroots football program in Diogo's name. If supporters would like to honor Diogo by having Diogo J20 printed on the back of their shirt in official club stores or via our online store, all profits go to the LFC Foundation. 2 of the other 3 organizations with logos on the website said they were seeking to get them removed. Allianz UK, fundraising regulator, Chelsea decided to donate their share of the FIFA Club World Cup bonus in memory of Jota. Players intended to give the equal share of the prize money, initially worth more than $500,000 pre-tax and other deductions directly to the Jota Foundation. So, yeah, that's the larger message there. Always keep an eye on charities and things like that. So, when you have things like that happen, then just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Literally, just keep an eye on it. And so, RSL has officially said that they have picked up DeAndre Yedlin. So RSL is official, and they have picked up DeAndre Yedlin. $304,700 in GAM in 2025. So that's got to be a cap numbery kind of a thing. So official. RSL gets Yedlin, $304,700 in GAM. Immediately be added to the roster. Mastroeni training with Pablo Mastroeni Thursday, Friday, eligible to compete in the match against Minnesota United on the weekend. Quote from Yedlin, 2 paragraphs, statistics, another paragraph from Yedlin, 2 paragraphs from Yedlin, paragraph from Kurt Schmidt, the chief soccer officer at RSL. He's going to wear the number 2. Joins 9 other RSL players to own FIFA World Cup appearances on their career resume. Only 8 players in RSL history have played more games in Europe than Yedlin. Alfredo Ortuño, I did not have that one on the bingo card, at 511. So the official deal, RSL acquires Yedlin from Cincinnati in exchange for $304,700 in GAM. Vancouver has transferred Bjorn Inge Utvik to Norwegian side Sarpsborg 08, 55 appearances across all comps. And you get a quote from Axel Schuster, and you get a quote from Utvik. And so Utvik heads back to Europe. And before that, he spent 6 seasons with Sarpsborg 08, so he's going back to his old club. The City side was 2 years, 136 appearances. He was their captain for 2 years, 136 appearances. So Bjorn Inge Utvik is going back home to his previous club, transferring from Vancouver to Sarpsborg 08. And there is no indication as to what is going back the other way. Vancouver has also acquired Belgian center back Jodrik Poop, former captain of FCV Dender. Belgian defender arrives on a contract through 27, club option for 28, officially joining the club roster pending receipt of his ITC and P1 visa, work permit, and medical. Quote from Axel Schuster. Poop, captain of FCV Dender, Challenger Pro League team of the season, 100 appearances or more than the Belgian Football League system. Most recently, the captain there, where he joined in 23, 6'3", 195. Judrik Pupa, 1997. Dender, Leerse SK, St. Eloise Winkel, KSV Oostkamp, youth clubs Almere City, KV Kortrijk, and Club Bruges. And he is Judrik Pupa on social media. We mentioned the Nicky Bolocco transfer that happened overnight. And let's see, is there anything else? And so now FC Cincinnati has come out with their official release. On the flip side of this whole thing, Chris Albright with a sentence from the club that FC Cincinnati would like to thank DeAndre for his contributions and dedication to the club and wishes him all the best going forward. $304,700. That definitely has cap implications written all over it. A wonky number at the very least. Uh-oh. What's Bogart doing now before we get out of here? Hang on, Ricky. Let's see. So Tom Bogart, yes. Go back to there. And okay, so it is the Yedlin deal, 304.7, related to money Cincy used to buy down Yedlin on the salary cap already. Okay. And James Donaldson has signed his first new deal, signed his first pro deal. Deal is MLS Next Pro now, turns into a first-team homegrown deal ahead of the 27. Donaldson is eligible for England also. Minnesota United turning down $8 million for Joaquin Pereira from Trabzonspor, according to Andy Greeter. Minnesota don't want to lose Pereira with no time to replace him in the summer. Understandably so. Red Bulls agree to a deal to acquire John McCarthy from LAG, and that is So that's adding folks there. Caden Clark continues playing for every other team in Major League Soccer. DC United have acquired him from CF Montreal, $700,000 in cash and $100,000 in add-ons. And now adding to the Westerlo saga, Brian Reynolds, according to Bogart, has informed Westerlo his desire to leave the club in the summer. All parties working for a solution. Talks have happened. Numerous clubs, nothing set yet. Less than 2 years left on his current deal. That catches us up. But James Donaldson, the note before we go, James Donaldson signed his first pro contract. MLS Next Pro Now turns into first-team homegrown deal ahead of the 27 season. Looking forward to that. Okay, tomorrow. It is getting you ready for the weekend. Go through the juice boxes, Major League Soccer. Maybe get a visit from our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. Ross Smith at 10, KCD at 10:30, and you. So that is the story from Valdosta. I'm going to pack up everything, go to a shoot, go to Milledgeville. And that's where we'll be tomorrow morning as we break down everything here in the world of soccer. Thanks to Nino Torres for busting everything down and breaking it all down as we talked about what happened last night with Universidad de Chile and Independiente. And thanks to all of you as we break everything down every single day here on the SDH Network and SDH AM. From all of us to all of you, thanks for dropping by as you always do. Back in less than 22, 9:05 tomorrow morning as we put a bow on yet another week and get you ready for Atlanta and Toronto and the twos and OCB. Which Platiel played safe, and since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Play it safe. We'll see you tomorrow.